So hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I've got a little video from the Autumn Bash, so the Alba Rosa Autumn Bash that happened at the weekend. Unfortunately, BC or British Cycling still don't allow you to have cameras on board your bike during races, so yeah, I'm kind of forced to have to bring you these kind of training ride kind of slash bash ride videos instead. So the Alba Autumn Bash is the last kind of hit out of the season before we all put our summer bikes away and head into the off season. We had a decent group out on Sunday. I think it was about 22 or so in the front group. So at this point we're around about 2 or 3 kilometers in. Everyone's kind of rolling around nice and steady together, and then it's kind of now heading towards kind of the first real bit where it starts to kick off. So there's a lovely probably about a 1 minute effort, as you can see, going up to about 600-700 watts. Wow, massive effort. It's properly kicking off at the front here, and just kind of my aim of the day was kind of stay as close to the front as possible without having to do any work really. I didn't really want to put my nose into the wind at any point. The course is extremely flat, so apart from these couple of little ramps at the beginning, perfectly plays into my kind of territory, where I can kind of sit at a nice 300 watts kind of cruising along, and it not way below threshold. We're about 5 or 6 minutes in at this point, and the kind of hitters have already hit the front, and I'm kind of forced here to kind of move through. If I want to stay at the front and not be in the wind, I need to pull through, do a turn, and hope that someone else comes over the top of me. It's probably a good idea to talk through some of the hitters. Some people are probably going to be offended if I don't talk about them. But this guy on the front, Hayden, extremely strong rider. Cat 1 rider. You've got Kurt next to him, also extremely strong. Maiken, Grimmy, you've seen in other videos, and Rob. Pretty much 95% of the people in this group I've got to worry about. After the working hard in that first kind of section to keep up the front, kind of drifted towards the back of the group to kind of to get my breath back a little bit before moving back through into the rotation. It seemed for the first kind of half an hour or so everyone was working quite well together, rolling through, taking turns, doing a bit of through and off. As soon as we moved out east, where it's a little bit more exposed, it started lining out into a bit more of a pace line, with people kind of drilling it on the front. Just my aim is to kind of be the kind of third or fourth wheel at all points during the race or during the bash. So anytime anytime people are starting to move up in front of me, I'm looking for that wheel to kind of move up towards the front. Often that does mean that I do have to pull through and do a turn, but as you'll see in a second through this section, when I do get to the front, I'm just focusing on keeping the pace of the group and not really trying to put too much pressure down. Keep my power kind of consistent, and just not trying to put too many people under pressure at this point. It's still quite early on. Here you can see I'm doing quite a long term on the front, but my power's only staying below threshold. My heart rate's not spiking too high, and I was just focusing on keeping the speed of the group consistent of what it was before. And if anyone else wants to make it faster or harder, the option's there to come through and pull on the front if they want. We're now coming up about halfway, and there's a kind of like a single track kind of farm road section, and before the ride I had in my head that at this point I wanted to be near the front, because yeah, it's very hard to move up, especially it's extremely exposed, and it's completely flat. There's a few kind of dead turns, or like 90-degree turns. So yeah, you're going to have to be, and if you're not near the front, that kind of concertina effect means you're going to be sprinting out of every corner. But yeah, that all went out the window. I found myself a little bit too far back in the group, and I was having to do a lot of work. Really, yeah, I made a mistake there. I should really kind of pedal through that corner, see if I could go round Hayden. Yeah, get a bit further up the line to make sure I'm not having to do these big spikes of like 400 or 500 watts out of every corner. Luckily for me though, yeah, this we unfortunately got caught by we caught up to a horse box, and so, yeah, we decided to kind of neutralise the race. When it all kicked off again, I made a mistake of being a little bit too relaxed, and 3 or 4 guys managed to kind of get a gap off the front of about, I think it was up to about 5 or 6 seconds. And so you can see here I want to be in that group. I want to be on their wheel, and so I'm having to do a massive effort here to kind of to get back on terms with these 4 guys that are up front. And so it was a good chase of a good couple of minutes chasing at like 400 watts plus just to get onto the wheel. But yeah, unfortunately for me, pretty much about a minute or 2 after I got back on terms with the guys at the front, I got a puncture, which pretty much it was that was the end. And that was the last I saw of the front of the bash. Luckily, I did have a spare tube, so I changed that out. Didn't take too long. It probably took around about 6 or 7 minutes. And by that time, a few people had been dropped, and the second group on the road had caught up with me and overtaken me. Kind of had a bit of a chase then for about 20 minutes or so to get back to that second group on the road. As you see here, I'm just getting back onto their wheel. So yeah, it's about just about 15-20 minutes of chasing solo to get onto that group. When I got there, recovered a little bit, took on some food and water, but kind of saw that the pace wasn't that high. So yeah, decided to attack them and see if I could bridge over to someone else. A couple of people came with me on that one. I think we dropped maybe 1 or 2 people there, and then we were working quite well together again. And then the pace dropped off, and so I attacked it once again. This time Mark came with me, and we managed to bridge over to these 2 in front. So this is Neil and Gary, just before we got onto Neil and Gary's wheel, me and Mark, I turned to Mark and I said, look, we'll sit on their wheel for a little bit, get some food and water back in again, and then we'll go again. And so you can see here I'm attacking over the top of these 2. Even though it wasn't a race, and there was no way I was going to get back to the front group. I wanted to make it as hard as possible. I wanted a really, really hard hit out. It seemed like Mark wanted to have one too, so it was nice to kind of, we kind of rotated turns nice and smoothly for a good 25-30 minutes back into Leeds. And now we're heading on to Alwoodley Lane, which is kind of the final stretch before the finish line, in inverted commas. There isn't really a finish line for this. And we caught up to Elliot, who got dropped off the first group, and so we're starting rolling turns. But what these 2 don't know is I've taken my last turn already, and just kind of, I think it's about 200-300 meters from the line now, and I kind of launched my kind of sprint. Not really sprinting for anything, if anything, but just, I think it's good practice. If there's a finish line, I'm always going to sprint. So it was a good hard day out, and ended up doing 4 hours of riding, so 127 kilometres in total. I think the bash itself was around about 85 to 90 kilometers. So that concludes kind of my my season. So that's the last kind of big ride of the year. Now got a couple of weeks kind of a bit of unstructured kind of active recovery. Might even throw in a few kind of XC rides in that time, and then come 1st of November, start training for 2022. That's it for today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.